Yoram Bauman. Is it Bauman or Bowman? I want to get it right.
Bauman.
It is Bauman. Okay. You're the first and only stand-up economist. Joe and I were talking about your philosophy. I mean, you're a humorist, which is good because I hate dry economic talk, on Meet the Press and places like that. It's just a bunch of wonks trying to convince you one doom and gloom or another doom and gloom. So it's good to have you here. You're going to be speaking at the Chamber of Commerce Microsoft Events Center today at 11:30.
That's right.
And then Town Hall Seattle tonight at 7:30 p.m. So Joe tells me your basic deal is that there's a lot of good news coming our way economically, maybe some bad news as far as our health and environment goes. But let's stick with the good news.
The good news. Well, we've made it through the recession, so
who knew we would make it?
Well, exactly. It looked like it might have. It could have been a lot worse. Let's put it that way.
Okay, we did. We made it through. Why did we make it through?
The economy was resilient, so it bounces back.
Okay.
But it's important to have. I like to say that one of the benefits of doing stand-up comedy about economics is the benefits from low expectations. So I think that
helps you.
I think that's important in thinking about the economy too. You have low expectations, and things look a lot better.
And we made it through. Didn't we make it through partially because we were worried about China, like us owing China money? But it turns out that we are very interdependent with China, right?
Well, that's certainly true. I mean, China owns a bunch of our debt, but they also depend on the U.S.
to buy their stuff.
To buy their stuff,
okay.
And there's a lot of.
Did
trade
you
going
travel
both
to
ways.
China?
I did. I lived there for 5 months in 2011. I work on, when I do serious economics, I work on climate change and carbon pricing issues, and I figured if I was going to study climate change, I should know something about China.
Wow. Okay. So, and that's not just, you didn't just go in and out really quickly, spy on an iPhone factory and come back to tell us what it was doing. You went there. You lived for 5 months?
I lived in Beijing for 5 months, yeah.
Gas mask?
The pollution was pretty bad on occasion. If for some reason it felt especially bad for me, like in the evenings around dusk, because you sort of expect to see the sun through the course of the day, and then the sun goes down, but it just sort of goes down over a haze of pollution sometimes. And
the translation is festering sky. They don't call it dusk.
Yeah,
it's festering sky.
But did that make you appreciate, wish that we could have beautiful sunsets like that?
Gotta have a dream, babe.
I wish we had the pollution that make those beautiful colors.
If only.
Because the pollution is great for pictures, right? For sunset pictures.
I think this pollution is beyond that scale.
Oh.
Yeah. I think you get into the nice sunset scale, and then you go about 100 times beyond that, and that's Beijing.
What did you learn in 5 months?
China is growing.
The throat still hurts, doesn't it?
That's right. China is still growing tremendously fast. The street that I lived on, I lived sort of on the outskirts of Beijing in an apartment, and there were farmers who still brought their vegetables to the market on horseback, and then there were folks driving by in Mercedes and Audis and things like that. So there's a lot of inequality in China. There's tremendous economic growth. They've been growing at 10% for 40 years. So really kind of a fascinating place.
And you see that continuing, so that at some point the guy with a horse will drive something, right? I mean, is it going?
Yeah.
Is the inequality going away, or at least leveling out?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think that there's continued fast economic growth in China, but there are a lot of folks that are still being left behind. So the word for BMW in Chinese is baoma, which means pretty horse.
A beautiful, pretty horse.
Beautiful horse.
Oh.
Your book, The Cartoon Introduction to Climate Change, I looked at it a little bit last night, and basically you say there's two things that are happening in our lifetimes, economics and environment. And the economics for the whole world is getting better in China, in Africa, in all these smaller countries. The internet and bringing us together is going to make it so everybody can prosper, but that's going to screw up the environment. Is that pretty accurate?
There's a risk of screwing up the environment. I mean, we really the outlook is quite positive in terms of the economics, and we just have to take smart actions to deal with environmental issues like climate change, and then hopefully we can end up with a really great century.
And you believe in like a carbon tax, like look at the environmental cost of everything and make the companies pay for it, so they'll be encouraged not to do bad. Or at least if they do bad, they'll help us with the tax revenue to clean it up. Is that sort of how you think?
Yeah. So I believe in using the power of capitalism and the tools of economics to protect the environment. So I spend a lot of time working
So
on
you're a liberal pansy.
yeah,
He says it with love.
I said it with love.
Yeah.
No, but some people would say that, right? Just because
Oh, sure.
they don't want a carbon tax. They want to do what's good for business, and the rest will all work itself out.
Right. So the idea that I work on is actually market friendly. So the idea is, hey, we pay a lot of taxes on things right now, sales taxes, business taxes. So if we had higher taxes on carbon emissions, higher taxes on pollution, then we could afford to have lower taxes on good things. So higher taxes on bad things, lower taxes on good things like jobs and income and savings and investment.
Now, did you get here in an environmentally friendly, cow flatulence powered vehicle? How did you get here this
I
morning?
rode my bicicleta.
You rode a bicycle? A bicyclette?
and
What's a bicyclette?
Chinese
I rode
word
a
for
bicycle.
dragon.
Oh.
And I
That's
have
the French word for
I
bicycle.
wish to file a complaint because there's no bicycle parking outside this building.
Uh-oh. And by the way, this is one of those green buildings. It's
I
got
know.
like green stickers all over it
Yeah.
because the bathroom won't let you wash your hands with a lot of water. But they left out the bicycle.
The reason why it's lead gold instead of lead platinum is there's no bike rack out front.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
So you do practice what you preach.
I
little.
certainly try.
Okay. You speak how many languages?
I speak English reasonably well. I speak Spanish moderately well, and I speak a little bit of Chinese.
A little bit of Chinese. So when you were over there, did you get by with Chinese, or did you
I got by with very poor Chinese.
very
yes.
poor Chinese? Okay.
Yes, and a lot of kindness from the Chinese people.
Now, when you get rid of your bicycle and get a car, what kind of car? Is it time to buy here's what I want to know. Time to buy an electric car, or I've been reading about the new, what do you call those? Fuel cell cars are only a few years off. Is that the answer? Because you talked about, carbon tax, and I assume that we hope to stop burning things to get around at some point, during our lifetimes would be nice. Do you agree with that?
It would be nice.
What are you going to do?
Well, believe it or not, I actually own a car.
Okay. No, you do. So it's not just a bicycle.
That's correct.
It's hard to bike to China.
That's true. I fly on airplanes too. I own a Toyota Echo, and my wife and I are thinking about buying a Honda Fit when the new Honda Fits come out. So nice, small, fuel-efficient cars.
The Honda Fit, that sounds like a Fred Flintstone thing where you would exercise while you're in the car, and that would make it move, but that's not what it is.
No, it's actually, I keep waiting.
They're coming back out with the hatchback next year, right? The Honda Fit, it's like a little CRV, except small.
Sure, you can think about it that way if you want.
Think of it as a roller skate you put your foot on, and that's Honda Fit.
No, it's a little car, right?
It's a little car, and here's the thing that's amazing. This car is probably going to cost us $20,000. We're going to pay 10% sales tax on that, right? So that's an extra $2,000 on the price of the car. So the idea of environmental tax reform is, hey, let's pay a little more for gasoline, but you pay a little bit less on the sales tax when you buy a new car, when you buy all sorts of things.
And you buy a green car. Do you think electric is next, or do you think fuel cell?
One of the great things about being an economist is that I don't try to pick winners and losers in the market. I can't foresee what's going to happen. Forecasting, as you may have figured out, is not the strong suit of economists.
No, in fact, they like to say it might do this or it might do that.
On the one hand, on the other hand,
in fact, if you took away one hand, they couldn't talk.
I'm speechless.
Yeah.
From an economy and environmental standpoint, are we in the best place in the world or what? I mean, sitting right here geographically, we are set.
You're here, so it must be a good place.
Seattle's a pretty good place. We get a lot of hydropower, so that's pretty good in terms of carbon emissions. The economy is doing quite well thanks to Jeff Bezos and all those folks. So it's a great place to live.
All right. Hear more from Yoram Bauman at the Microsoft Event Center today at 11:30 a.m. Town Hall Seattle tonight at 7:30 p.m. We'll put all the details on how to hear him speak at bobrivers.com. Thanks for coming in.
My pleasure. Thank you.